everyone. Thank you very much for being here this morning. My name is Adrian Laporte. I'm founder and CEO of Smartpixel. So today we will go through a success story. So we will explain a little bit how our company has started, what was the vision, mission of the company in the early beginnings, where it is today, and where we're heading in the future. We will present some videos of previous installations, applications that we've done to explain a little bit what is the core of Smartpixel. We will also showcase some live demos of Unity and how we apply Unity into the business world. The company has started in 2009. It was founded initially only by myself. I worked in my basement for quite a while. And the goal of the company in the beginning was really to use technologies in digital signage, interactive digital signage, to create wow factor experiences for companies to better communicate using technologies and rich content. As a graphic designer, it was very important for me to put an emphasis on the beautiness and the smoothness of the applications that we were going to create. In that video, you're looking at what we call an interactive shop window. So basically, it's a capacitive foil. It's a transparent foil that you stick behind a glass that transforms any storefront window into a touchscreen. Initially, I thought this was going to be huge, because obviously you would be able to turn actually any storefront into a touchscreen. The only thing I didn't calculate in the time was that in Quebec, we're from Montreal, sorry, I forgot to say. In Quebec, obviously because of the snow and the cold, all the glass are double glass, and the technology didn't work properly outside. So we had to focus more on internal shop windows. So this is me in my early beginnings. I used to have hairs and earrings. And this was actually an interactive shop window that I've created for a gaming store. So we were actually presenting the upcoming game titles that we're going to get out. This whole concept of interactive shop window was great. We're still doing it nowadays, but we're using the foils in different conditions to do, for example, very large format touchscreen tables. Once the technology started to grow and get better, the cost, obviously, of the different technologies we were using came down. They became more and more robust, and it was actually easier to use them. The bigger the screens were, their question came, and I asked myself, well, what is the good purpose of having a very large format touchscreen? How can I actually use this in a better way? So obviously, the multi-touch functionalities came on the market, so it was possible. Now, people are very, very well aware of this today with the iPhones and iPads. But it was possible to pinch, rotate, zoom in, zoom out. But how could I use actually a 50-point touch panel? So the idea was actually to use it to make multi-user collaboration tools. So this is where you see, we will get back to that video later. But basically, it was showing a large format video wall with many people interacting. We have several partners who will create different types of furniture, whether it is counter desk, tables, or different types of items. And in those tables or furniture, we would actually embed different technologies. So in this example, you're looking at two side-by-side 55-inch tables. And the goal of that application was to actually allow single-user interactions on each of the tables, but each of them could actually speak to each other. So it was possible for the person on the left to take some items on the screen and slide them to the person on the right so that he or she could actually pick up the content from where it was. In the next video, you're looking, this is actually my kitchen in my home. But we've created a table that was basically just used to showcase different content. So the point where I want to get here is that in the beginning, not being a programmer, it was actually very difficult for me to create those experiences. So there's still a lot of software on the market that enabled people like me to actually create low-end multi-user or multi-touch experiences. So in this example, I can't remember the name of the software I was using, but basically it was kind of a media viewer. So we had a plan one day to do like touchscreen tables for restaurants or for home use. And this software was so the lady could actually look at different recipes and have her child do the homework on the table. This is an old example of a video wall. You can see that it's very old because of the bezel of the screens. It's actually over 1 inch, so this is probably 6 or 7 years old already. And in that time, again, there was no team in place. So basically, I was using, in this case, Google Earth or other types of software that the client will simply look at and show to his customers when they would walk into his office. It was just kind of a wow factor experience. It was a technological company doing light, and they needed to have this particular item to simply attract attention when people would walk in. It really didn't have any purpose or sense. It was really just for wow factor. A bit further down the road, other software came on the market, and it enabled me to be able to create touchscreen experiences with a little bit more of a user experience. So I was able to actually program simple menus so that people could actually trigger information and filter information through the 2D UI menus. This is an example of Festival d'été de Québec, which is one of the very large music festivals we have in summertime in Quebec. And the goal of this application was to help people at the front desk to actually find the exact scene where they wanted to go, according to the schedule or the artist they were looking at. So nothing still very fancy, but at that time, it was pretty cool. Using the same type of software, we were also able to do anything related to tourism and cultural or entertainment. So this is the Olympic Stadium of Montreal, that very, very expensive tower that we're trying to support over time. And this is a touchscreen experience. So basically what we were doing is simply looking at a very, very panoramic picture of Montreal, facing the actual view of Montreal. And on the screen, it was possible to simply scroll left or right to look at the picture and click on different points of interest that were located onto the picture. Every time you would click on a point of interest, it would open up a pop-up fiche, and you could be able to actually look at pictures and read some text about it. Another great utility of those applications was in the trade show industry, for the trade show industry. So in this case, we were working with the police of Quebec. It was a car show, and they needed to show their new cars. So still nothing 3D, very, very simple interfaces where you could have access to different menus. So the police officer used this to speak with the public and show the different aspects of their car. A lot of people used it. They actually used that interface for, I think, 3 years. And eventually, the concept went a little bit further, and we will see where it took us. But it was, again, just simple multi-touch 2D interface. The other good use of this is for presentation. So unfortunately, I don't have this tool today because it's not being manufactured anymore by our partner. But this is what we called an emulator. So we had a partner in the Toronto area who created that surface for actually DJing. So it's a kind of a translucent screen with a projection. It's nothing really magical. There's a projector on the floor, which is doing a rear projection onto a glass. And the presenter could actually touch that screen to interact with her content. And during that event, obviously, we had those kiosks placed a little bit everywhere so that people could actually understand. This was actually a contest that we won in Quebec for entrepreneurship. So there was a lot of installation, and people could actually explore what Smartpixel was doing. At some point, a client of mine came to me and asked me, Hadrian, I need you to create a 3D interface with 3D content for a real estate company. And this was a huge block for me because I had no skills in programming. I had no software to be able to create those interfaces. So at that time, this is where I met my 3 actual partners, which is Alexandre Lacourcière, that you're going to meet in a little bit, Michael Gignac, our CTO, and Dave Sirois, who's not here. He's actually managing the office right now at Montreal. So Michael Gignac told me how Unity was great and how it could actually help the company level up. And with his engineering skills, he was able, and my software and my graphic design skill, we were able to work together and actually create that old-looking type of interface. This was, I think 6 years ago already. But still, it was much, much better than what I used to do alone. So basically, and we're going to get into this in much deeper in a little bit, but it was an interface to actually allow to see a building before it's actually built and explore the surrounding of the neighborhoods with points of interest, categorized, for example, between schools, educational things, stores, and all of it. It's actually a platform that helps real estate developer sell their units before they're actually built. So all the green boxes that you see there are available units. At the same time, we also created our CMS, which is at the core of all of our application. It's based in Microsoft Azure. So every time a unit would sell, the real estate developer could actually log onto this CMS and change the availability of its unit. And not very long after this, many more offers came on the table, and we faced a good problem, which was space. So at the time, we were still working, each of us, from our basements. And at some point, we decided to take an office. So we moved into an office in the old port of Montreal. At the beginning, we were maybe 6 or 7, and very quickly, we ramped up to 10, 12, 15 employees. And even at the point we got into that office, it was less than 2,000 square feet. We were a little bit more than 20. So the space started to become very small for us. So in that video, basically, we're just showing how people used to work in that office. It was a great space, but again, the demand was so high. The quality of the project that we were doing, thanks to Unity, was very good. And we started to have this other problem, again, to face growth. So we had to move into a newer office, which is now 7,000 square foot. It's the office that we occupy right now in downtown Montreal. We have a little bit over 65 employees as of today. So, and this all came in the past 2 years. So in that new office, we have obviously graphic designers, 3D modelers, software engineers. We have people that work in marketing and administration, accounting, sales. So the team is now complete. We also have a small office in Toronto, Strasbourg, Paris, Dubai, and Bogota. So this is the short story of Smartpixel, how we were here today. And I will let my partner and good friend Alex speak for the rest.
Thank you, Adrian. So thank you for being there. I'm going to explore a little bit more about the real estate side of the company because it's our actual sweet spot. Why? Because people need to see before they buy. And especially in Canada right now where the real estate market is pretty hot, people need to sell their tower at least at 50 to 70% before doing the first dig. So people need to see and feel their future life space. And buying on plans is pretty old-fashioned, so people need to be reinsured and securized about what they buy. They need to customize their space. So when you customize, it's like you do your own pizza, so you already own what you did. So, and those type of software, this one is an old software. I still like it a lot because I like the UI, how it's done. Because all the software are done in-house, so the clients will send us their graphic guideline, then we need to create a UI and a eye candy, fluid, and easy-to-use experience for the clients. It also needs to be multi-user, so sometimes we do VR, but we really believe in 2 touch screens. Why? Because we want people to be able to discuss and collaborate. So here, you see the city is all schematic, buildings are wide. It was a choice to put more emphasis on the real estate project itself. So, and you'll see there is more recent project where the realism is a lot more advanced. But still, you can have the night. Montreal is a city with a good nightlife. And so people always want to see, the skyscrapers. So we put the project into its context. Just going to change the language. Okay. So, and if I click on the project, now I can zoom on the building. So see the architecture on a more closed-up perspective. Again, I can change the light. It's the real orientation of the sun. So people can see where the sunrise and the sun sets according to the orientation of their unit. And I'm breaking a rule of conferences because I'm facing back to you, but still I want you to see how we interact on the screen. So here you have different search criteria. We're able to fetch units according to different, like the number of room, orientation, price, or surface. At the beginning, people were putting the price on the software. Now we know the price, but the people don't really want to see the price in the software. So, and you see, we are real-time connected to their CRM. We can connect to any ERP, CRM, data flow, and the backend is a big part of the software, which you don't see right now. So we know in real time which units are sold. People can change the price, and they can also change all of the content of the software. Most of the time, they will change plans. They will merge two units to make a bigger one. So, and the fact is, it's better for them that they don't call us. They just do the change by themselves. So, and if I click on one of the floors, so I can browse floors and see the different floor plans. I'm going to choose this unit because I'm never going to be able to buy it. So, and the things that you can compare. So now it opened what we call floating windows, which can contain any type of media, PDF, video. Now it's just a simple menu giving the information about the unit. And then if I click on the plan, so I can open the plan. The plan are in PDF, so, and as I said, people can change them if they modify the floor plans. So you can compare different units. Here you see kitchen and bathroom, so you can go inside and customize the unit. I won't do this with this software because it's an old software, and at the time, for the interiors, we hired partner who were working in another build engine, which I won't name. So it would be a sacrilege if I open this. I'm going to show you after enter MadeWithUnity. And if I click on the panorama, so now I'm going to get on the balcony of the building, so I have the actual view from this unit. And here, this is where people like to know, okay, yeah, the sunrise is there, sunsets on the other side. And since it's a corner unit, so you have different angle of view. So I can go to the view facing downtown. And people also always ask, oh, it's 3D. Yeah, but we also have the drone shots who give you the actual view. Another very important feature of those softwares, and they always have the same layout, if you want. So the common areas, people don't only buy a unit, but they buy the services and the amenities that comes with. So there is first regular renderings, which is a service we also offer, also through partners, because we really want to stay focused on real-time 3D. And as you know, for those render, you click render, you go sleep, and then the next morning you have a render. We need to always be in 60 frames per second on 4K screens, or even more bigger video wall combining multiple screens. So fluidity is an issue. And as you know, when we receive the Rivet plans, let's say from the architects, Rivet is a big format, so we need to do a lot of work to optimize, reduce the polygon count to be sure that it is fluid. And it's always a challenge. Most of the architects change ideas, like 1 week before the launch, oh, I added balconies and I removed the terrace. Can you just change this? Because it's make us redo all the building. But still, we are a department of miracles. And here, some people use this just to study the light and how the projected shadows of the nearby buildings will affect the different spaces, so we can foresee the best placement for the sunlight. I can go to the Sky Lounge. It will also always open images. Here, the hotel lobby. And so you can travel to all of the different common areas on the building. Last very important feature is the surroundings. So now I can wander in the city, and you have, as Adrian said, the different points of interest by different categories. And you can really zoom out, and we have this feature, which is the minutes of walk around the project, but it also creates a target that positions the project very efficiently in the cityscape. And there is some travel too also. So if I click, let's say, on the Palais des Congrès de Montréal, people in Montreal really know this building because of the color. So it's open a file. In the CMS, people can add picture, videos, text about the point of interest. Now they just choose to have the name. So, and finally, we can have any type of regular media. So here's the video of the project. I won't start it. And here, last aspect, when I choose a unit, and let's say I want to buy this one, or at least I'm interested, so I'll add it to the email tool. Then you see there is a number 1 here. So if I click here, I can enter the name of the sales rep, enter the coordinates of the client, and you'll have the plans of the unit that you're interested into. So it will send an email after the session with plans, PDFs, videos, and the images, as an example of the kitchen the client created. And it also helps the salesman do follow-up. So the CRM connectivity is very important. Now I'm going to show you some insights. I should have some jokes to fill the void while we are changing the softwares. Can I skip? So at the beginning, each software will load the cache. So there is an automatic update feature. So we don't have to install a new build each time there is different updates. Here, this client here is a company who does single family housing. So this house is going to be sold so much time. So for them, it's important to have this software so people can go in the sale office and customize the house. So you can go in different rooms, change colors, finishes according to different choices that they have. And all of the modifications you do, the software will keep track of this. And at the end, it's going to send you a video with pre-programmed travelings, but with the choice that you made. Another interesting thing, and now it's not in 4K, but you can, sorry to say this, extract rendering. So let's say instead of paying an artist to do a render of this view, we're really working to make the real time, as good or as well a good alternative to still renderings. So you can have 6K rendering just by pressing F4 or extracting videos by free roaming in the application. So, and again, you can get different floor plans. I can go to the other floor, but I won't spend too much time on this software. If you can open Maestria. So it's just to tell you where we are going and how the environment have improved. It's always a challenge because when we have a project, we need to create all the surroundings. The nearby buildings need to be very accurate because it's the look and feel of the neighbor. And for us, so we needed to create a way to optimize and to automate the processes, either of optimizing the principal buildings, but also to populate the environment. So we're working on processes to create cities automatically. So with different scripts that will apply textures and create and I should have pressed skip, because when you press skip, it don't load the cache. Should we restart or should I wait?
10 seconds stop.
Restart. And anyway, I encourage you to come to our booth after. We're always looking for good partners in 3D modeling. Oh, skip. Okay, so this is another project in Montreal City. Now we're having clients in Tokyo. We're having a lot of new clients in different countries, which is pretty encouraging. So, and I really think that the future of Unity, except from gaming, is very strong in real estate. It's in C#. It's hard, it's easy to code. And since we do approximately 6 software like this a month, so even if we're like now 64 employees, it's always a small team who will do a software. So by the framework we have developed, we're able to create those software in a very efficient way. So they are better, cheaper, and faster to develop. So again, it's the same principle. You have the city. You can, go from day to night. I won't do all the features because it's always the same type of features. But here at school, they use this interface to sell and rent the facades and the different commercial spaces at the ground level. So you can, turn around the building and see the different spaces. And if I go to the surroundings, so I can travel to different areas in Montreal. So it always gives a view on the towers. But this area is a very well-known area in Montreal, and people buy the building because it's near this area, because you'll have like jazz festivals and heavy metal festivals, and people will be able to look at the festivals by being at their balcony. I think we can also add characters, moving cars. Sometimes we do it, but for bigger FPS, sometimes we prefer use this thing and focus really on the architectures. I think Your turn again.
All right. I hope you're amazed so far. So yeah, that particular software, the work that we did was really, like Alex said, about like making some automatics, texturing, scripts so that we can actually easily recreate cityscapes without having to model everything by hand. So it's obviously a work in progress, but we're getting there. So as the next part of the discussion, I wanted to introduce you to a little bit more of what we do outside of the real estate world. So there's going to be two parts to this discussion. I'm going to first show a video of the largest installation that we've done. It's done for ABB, which is a major manufacturing and industrial and engineering company. And so I will walk you through the showroom that we've created, which is called the CIC. It stands for the Customer Innovation Center. So everything you see there, except the robot, has been done by Smartpixel. So even the first video wall, which is mainly digital signage, is also handled by us. We're using Unity and our CMS to actually launch content on that video wall. I'm going to press pause here. Oh, no, actually, I'll just try to go quick. So this touchscreen table is actually using what we call a tangible object. A tangible object is a miniature model, in this case, of different robots. And underneath, you have different conductive materials that will actually create a specific pattern so that the table understands what object is actually standing on the table. So depending on the robot that you put, you're going to have different content. And you can also use the actual robot to control the interface. As Alexander said, we do also VR and AR. It's not our main focus, but it's obviously something that is easily achievable through Unity and through our framework and the models that we have. In that case, what was nice is that on that little iPad, it was possible for the user to actually choose from 6 different VR experiences which one she wanted to actually explore. It was connected through network to a computer underneath, so it would actually make the process easier of loading each VR experience. In that touchscreen, what you see is an application that you're going to see throughout the walkthrough. It's basically a schematic world that represents 8 different industries of ABB. And the software has been designed so it's completely responsive from a big touchscreen that you just saw earlier to a very large touchscreen video wall. So this is the 8x1 I was talking to you earlier. There's different tools I will show in the live demo a little bit later in regards to this to allow multiple people to actually live a great experience on that wall. Again, so that software is 8 different industries of ABB. Basically, when you click on one industry, it opens up a schematic landscape, and then you were able to select different points of interest, open up a window that has access to folders and then files. And those files are basically technical spreadsheets about over 3,000 different products that ABB owns throughout their 8 different industries. So the complexity of this software, not only in terms of responsiveness, but in terms of content management, was really a big challenge because they're now using this application in over 20 countries. They have a few thousands of users. And basically, all sales rep would use this application to actually get instant access to all of their different technical data sheets. At last, we have one installation, which is the touchscreen connected to a non-interactive video wall. So again, it's that same idea of that schematic landscape, but in that case, the presenter could actually take some content and throw it towards the wall. He could either fast forward or rewind if it was a video, or he can actually scroll up or down if it's a PDF using the touchscreen table. So this is a great example of how we can combine different technologies and hardware in order to create wow factor and memorable experiences. I would like to show you now an application that we've done. Unfortunately, we cannot disclose the name of this customer. I will tell you a little cue. It's a very large telecommunication company in the US. Their goal was to actually show how they're moving towards digitalization and how they're actually using IoT to make cities smarter. So the concept of smart city is actually well shown here in this application. I will not go through all the different details because it could be very long. So I will focus on just a few of the little aspects of this software. Again, it's loading. It's normal. So again, there's a lot of industries that are sometimes related to real estate, in this case telecommunication, which enables us to use our core framework to actually apply all the different knowledge and expertise that we have for different industries. So in that case, you're going to look at actually a 3D city. So this is the contrary of what Alex was showing to you. This is not a real city. This was generated completely automatically. It's random. So it's one of the tools that we have to create the cities. So in that case, we've integrated a new feature, which is what we call the planar camera. So I can obviously explore the city by sliding my finger on the screen, but I can also rotate the view using 2 fingers, zoom in, zoom out a little bit. So in that way, I can actually really get the angle of view that I want on the 3D map. Again, obviously, there's the famous sun slider, which enables you to get more beauty shots of the city. Those buildings, this one, I'll start with this one. This is actually the Humanity building that you saw in the previous application. So obviously, we reused that building in that example because the client simply needed to have a hotel-looking like building. So instead of remodeling something, we can just take parts of our existing software, obviously with the agreement of our customer, to reuse in other instances. Basically, when you click on those things, it opens up 3D UI. So we started working with 3D UI not so long ago because we feel that it's kind of more immersive to have the UI part of the 3D environment. It creates a little bit more of a wow factor again. If I click on different rooms, it will actually open new interior, like a new scenes. So here, usually, you have tags on each of the items that are actually lighting up. And you can actually trigger some information pop-ups to get information about all the different products and services that the company offers. If I go back to the main view, to go back to the multi-user and very large format touchscreen experience, one of the great things is that we have what we call an admin console. So the admin console is a secret panel. In that case, the password is actually quite simple. It's 12345. And then it opens up a canvas splitter. So basically, here I can choose how many times I want the instance to be displayed on the screen. So in this case, it could be 1, like it is right now, 2, or 3. So let's select 3. If I click apply, the software will immediately reload and will now offer me 3 different canvas to play with. So basically, this experience was made, thank you, Alex, to be run on a very large 100-inch touchscreen. So it was possible for a group of people to learn about specific items on the left, while other people would actually interact on the right. Thank you. I'll go back to the one-screen instance. So now I'm back. Alex just selected what we call the infrastructure mode. So this is kind of a night vision of the city that shows different networks, actually. So I could actually select different networks. The camera would reposition to actually better see the network. So obviously, there's a sales pitch that goes along this. There's some information that we remove to keep privacy. But it's a great tool for them to show how they will actually put their networks inside the city, whether it's Ethernet, Wi-Fi, cable, whatever it is. So the last feature I want to show here is what we call the presentation mode. So imagine you're in a trade show and you have lots of people around you and everybody wants to come and start touching the screen. So basically we've designed what we call the presentation mode. So the presentation mode is a floating window. In that case, it's actually very big because, again, like we were explaining, we're running in full HD. The experience is meant to run on 4K, so usually the window is a bit smaller. And in that case, nobody can actually interact with the city itself. Only the presenter can actually interact with the city by using that little window. So it's great. So if the presenter is on the left side, the right side of the screen, sorry, he's going to put it there. Or you could actually move it here to interact with the window. So that was it again for that. Alex will speak to you a little bit more about other industries and where Smartpixel is heading. And then after that, we'll have a short Q&A session.
Machine stock, yes. Okay, so yeah, I read my paper. I'll be brief because we really think that the future of Unity, and thanks to Unity for helping us bring the company where it is. And so the future is, according to us, into like smart cities, smart grid, smart buildings. So dashboards that centralizes all the information gathered about different devices, different metrics, and be able to visualize in a very intuitive way, in a centralized way, all the information about your facilities, your city, your building, whatever. So we've done some tests with pumps in the mining industry where you had the 3D pump and you had the status of the pump in real time, and you can control via your phone the pressure, and so you could control your factory at a distance. It was a proof of concept we did, which government of Canada invested, and thank you. All the BIM, you've seen the conference on Unity Reflect, which is going to be pretty powerful. Virtual information modeling infrastructure. So we're working now with new infrastructure transit system in Montreal, where we need to centralize all the 3D models of the stations, the infrastructure, the trains, and all of those things. Digital twins, for sure. And here, and also e-training, AR, XR, augmented reality training, accompaniment into operations. So it's a little bit of name drop of different way we can lead the industry, but it's always things that we've tried, and we're willing to find also partners, maybe here in the crowd, to be able to help us deploy those futuristic softwares. Here, our client is Machine Stock. This software is more on the marketing side. So it's showing the different devices that they install. So now you have a live heat map of the building, have some technical information about the HVAC, security, so following employees, again, some matrix, ID cards, so evacuation plan, floor plans. If I go here into smart parking, so we show how they install different device that will detect if a car is parked or not and show the available spaces here. Smart, that one is, yeah, showing underground infrastructure. So, and we're working with cities to, again, being able to show the different types of things, the piping, electricity, gas, pipes, underground infrastructure. So here you can have the live reading of the different devices that will communicate the data to us. So it's like a layer of a front end that we put upon already existing software that are meant to manage like building management systems or things like this. But we really believe that by having real-time 3D environments, it's a lot easier for people to figure out. You don't need to have a consultant explaining you complex charts. You have it in front of your eyes. Here, security management. So they have things that will, so you can just, by detecting the face with cameras and the license plate, you can know who's the driver of the car. Here, so let's say there's an accident, so they have devices that will detect abnormal behaviors or accidents. So we'll be able to track the emergency vehicles and also optimize the path. So it's all about having real-time information in a centralized real-time 3D software for different purposes. There would be a lot of other things to show. Most of our softwares are under NDA because our customers don't want us to show. There is a lot of sensitive information, but we can show it in private. So if you want to come to our booth, and if you have a company doing complementary services or things that we also do, we can partners to deploy easier and faster software together. We really believe in teamwork, and we're all in the Unity family. So thank you for listening. If you have some questions, we have like 3 minutes.
Yep, 3 minutes to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you.